Good Monday morning, Mount Olive. We want to start off today with your morning devotion, and we want to talk just a second about Jason's message yesterday. Is a very good message, and he preached out of chapter 34 of 2 Chronicles, and he talked about a young man named Josiah, the king. Josiah, verse 1, chapter 34, was 8 years old when he began to reign or rule, and he ruled in Jerusalem for 31 years. Verse 2, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. That's something we all want to do, isn't it? We want to do what's right. We want to do what's right before God. And then it says, and he walked in the ways of David his father. I think Jason said 15 generations between his great-grandfather David and him. But it said he walked in the ways of David his father and declined neither to the right hand nor the left hand. So I liked what that said there. He was determined. His direction was determined. His focus was steady to not be distracted to the right or to the left, but to go in the ways of his father David, which was in the ways of God, doing that which was right in the sight of God. To not be distracted, to be determined, to not go to the right or the left, but to be perfectly walking in God's will. That's what we have here. And so what we need to know then, this determination of focus, that's our Monday devotion, brings us to Isaiah chapter 50, because Josiah, as Jason preached about, the one he preached about yesterday, is an Old Testament type of Christ. And so Josiah's determination to set his face in the direction of the will of God and not be distracted or turned. The Bible speaks of Jesus in the same light. So Josiah was a type of Christ. Isaiah 15 verse 6, speaking of Jesus, I gave my back to the smiters and my cheeks to them that plucked off the hair. I hid not my face from shame and spitting. Isaiah 15:6. And then Isaiah 15:7, for the Lord God will help me, therefore shall I not be confounded. Stop. Lose footing. Again, maybe distracted to the right or left. I will not be confounded. Therefore have I set my face like a flint. And there it is, like a flint stone, like a hardened stone, that it's unshakable and unmovable. And so the focus of Jesus, when he came as our example, he lived this life with a hard focus, unmovable, a steady focus on God's will. And that will took him to the cross. Yeah, he could have been distracted by the opposition. He could have been distracted by the humiliation. He could have been distracted by the sufferings. He could have been distracted by the pain. There's a lot of things that could have distracted Jesus. But like Josiah, he said, I will set my gaze, my vision, my focus to the will of God. I will set my face like a flint. That's what he said. That's our devotion today. Let us today and every day say, my focus is on the will of God. I set my face like a flint to God's perfect will. I'll end with this story. It reminds me of a similar or a common illustration that I've used many times. At the Goodwill Games in Edmonton, Canada, the Jamaican team was participating in the 4x100 meter relay. The third leg for the Jamaican team had a friend who was competing in a nearby event. While the sprinter was waiting for the baton, he looked over for a moment just to catch his friend doing his event. In the very next moment, the guy running the second leg of the Jamaican relay team came running up to him with a baton, and because he was not paying attention, actually ran into him. Needless to say, the race was over for the Jamaican team because the lack of focus of one of its team members. He wasn't focusing on his race. Many things can get us out of focus. Sin can distract us. People hurting us, or gossip, or worldliness. Many different things can distract our focus. Trials of this life, suffering and pain. So today, let us be reminded that we want to set our face like a flint. As Josiah, as Jesus, we want to have a steady focus on the will of God. Have a good Monday morning.